Hi, my name is Angie Martin, and I'm the RCM Department Manager for Benchmark Systems. Today I'm going to walk you through what we do here at Benchmark Systems to help practices improve their financial health. But first, let's discuss our team. Here at Benchmark Systems, we have a US-based team with a total of 279 combined years of experience. Each client of ours is strategically placed with one of our professionals that will be your dedicated billing expert. Yes, that means we offer one-on-one support to quickly tackle any issues you have and ensure your financials are constantly being worked. So what all do we cover from a revenue cycle management service provider? I'd like to take you through each of our 8 categories within our revenue cycle. Each section is clickable, so feel free to skip around to what suits your interests. Benchmark Systems RCM team takes the patient demographic data collected by the practice at the time of service and enters it into the practice management software. The team is then able to identify a patient's eligibility with the payer as well as providing HMO information. This information is also available to the practice in order to aid in collecting copays, identifying deductibles, as well as services requiring pre-authorizations. Our RCM team and software support group work closely together to customize the encounters that best meet the customer's needs, including most commonly used diagnosis and CPT codes. This makes for a more streamlined workflow for both the customer and the RCM team. Charges are captured by 2 methods. First, and most commonly used, by clinics not using Benchmark's EHR or an EHR with no integration options, is manual entry. This process is done by taking the files that have been securely scanned to the RCM team's inbox and separating them into files by date of service, location, and provider. The encounters, along with the correlating patient payments and/or copays collected at the time of service, are then placed in a network secured folder for the data entry team. The second and most preferred method of charge entry is actually much more automated, since the charges are imported to the practice management software directly from the patient's record in Benchmark Systems EHR. Once in the import, the process is very similar in the reviewing of codes and missing modifiers. After this review is completed, the charges are imported and automatically applied to the patient's account in the practice management software. With both methods of charge capture described, at this point the claims are ready for submission to the payer. Benchmark Systems RCM team includes several certified coders that review both diagnosis and CPT codes on claims for validity, as well as addition and/or removal of modifiers as applicable for maximum reimbursement prior to claim submission. We also offer the ability to assign both diagnosis and CPT codes through examining a patient record, as well as querying the providers for clarity. Electronic claims are submitted daily. The practice management software offers multiple edits to ensure a first-time clean claim submission. First, the system looks for claim level errors or omissions. This would include insurance record setup as well as patient demographic errors. The next edits are examining the electronic file formatting for compatibility. Lastly, the payer edits typically look at the total claim to determine if it meets payer requirements for processing. The payer usually provides a response within 24 hours. This response lets us know that the claims were either accepted for adjudication or rejected, and if rejected, what corrections are needed prior to the resubmission of the claim. In the initial setup of the client database, we recommend that clients consider setting up electronic remittances with payers. This allows for faster processing and payer reimbursement, in addition to automatic applications of payments and adjustments. Our staff works with the customer to aid in the applications and setup of these electronic options. We also offer the option to scan files of EOBs and patient payments directly to a secure inbox to be manually posted to the patient's accounts. Payments are entered daily in order to maintain consistent cash flow from both insurances and patient balances from statements also mailed out weekly. Inevitably, there are some denials that require follow-up to make sure the claims were processed correctly. There are many different reasons for denials, such as payer-specific requirements as well as payer error. It is surprising how many payers experience system issues that affect claim reimbursement. Regardless of the denial reason, Benchmark's RCM team makes every effort to get the claim corrected, reprocessed, and paid. We use a combination of resources, including reports from the practice management software, payer websites, and even phone calls to the payer to gain better understanding. We understand that providers work hard to provide quality health care, and we in turn work hard to make sure the providers are properly reimbursed for those services. Once all insurance benefits have been exhausted for a claim, if there are balances remaining that are indicated as the patient's responsibility, we begin pursuing those amounts as well. Although it is somewhat customizable, the typical process includes 3 patient statements, 1 past due letter, and finally submission to a collection agency previously chosen by the customer. They begin their collection process while we remove the amounts from our system to maintain clean accounts receivable. The 3 statements are sent out over a 90-day period. Statements are sent weekly to maintain consistent cash flow, but each patient is on a 30-day cycle, so they are only receiving 1 statement monthly. At the end of the 3-statement cycle, if the patient has not made payment arrangements or an attempt to satisfy the debt, the patient qualifies for a past due letter. This is a generic reminder that they still owe the practice a debt and they should contact either the practice or Benchmark Systems RCM team to discuss a resolution. Once the letter is sent, they have 30 days to respond or they qualify for collections. If the patient does not make arrangements to satisfy their obligation to the practice, Benchmark Systems will work with the collection agency assigned by the clinic, transmitting necessary information to the agency so they can pursue the open balances. As part of the services provided by Benchmark Systems RCM team, at the end of each month, the customer is provided with system reports detailing all transactions for the month. These may also be generated anytime throughout the month by the office. The most common reports are charges, payments, or adjustments broken down by provider, location, department, and payer. We also include transaction analysis reports and procedure analysis reports for more detail. The customer should have a clear understanding of what each report represents and also be able to tie the totals provided back to their bank statement for reconciling. There are also many other reports available to any user that needs access. The practice management reports are very user-friendly with simple parameter settings, and some offer drill-down capability for clear audit trail. Benchmark Systems makes every effort to maintain transparency in our workflow because we understand that trusting an outside source with your livelihood can be overwhelming and stressful. We would like to alleviate some of that by providing you with the tools needed to keep an eye on the overall health of your practice. That concludes our RCM offerings for Benchmark Systems. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're interested in any of our RCM services, contact us today.